It's not often enough that we hear about businesses that are fun, creative, original, and also hugely successful. Cat Daddy, owner of Voodoo Donut in Portland, is with us today to disclose the secrets of his donut enterprise and to show how being himself has led to astounding new ventures. I'm Erin Donnelly, and this is Reveal What's Real. All right, Cat Daddy. Hi.
Hi, great to be here.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Of course.
And thank you for bringing the donuts.
It's easy to share the love.
No doubt. I was hoping for the bacon variety, and I see that it arrived.
Oh, yeah, boy, if you don't show up with the bacon.
Yeah. We are a bacon town, that's for sure. So what makes Portland so right for this business?
It's such an open city, and that's one thing that when I moved here, and I just moved here because it was a cool city. I came here in the summer. I'm from the South. I didn't realize that places weren't infernos in August. You know, you get in there and it's like, oh, it's 80 degrees. I got to put a coat on in the shade, and all that kind of stuff. And one thing that really made its impression, not until I actually moved here. I traveled here and stuff, but when I got here, people could communicate. I don't know what word it says. In the South, it is still segregated. And it's not so much a racial thing as the cowboys hang out with the cowboys, the lawyers hang out with the lawyers, the rockers hang out with the rockers. People don't mix. And, you know, there's a big old overtone of that as well.
Yeah.
But I come out here and you go into a bar and a lawyer and a transvestite and a cowboy will sit there and have cocktails and have a conversation and do all this kind of stuff. And I know that's pretty basic and stereotypical, but I really embraced that feeling and then kind of got in this, I can be me here. And I kind of became the adult that I dreamed of being as a kid in the South, where it just, my crass sense of humor and my approach on things just probably wouldn't have panned out as much as it has here. And
we love that stuff.
Oh,
here.
yeah. And after, now that, 20 years passed before I really get close to opening my store. I mean, I think I got it close. It was for 15, 16 years before I got open. But I was able to dive into that community, and I really became the adult that I am here. I was an adult when I moved here, but I didn't grow up, I don't think, until I came here. And I embraced that philosophy and all of that kind of thing. And then the whole thing with the business, too, is it is for everybody. Who likes donuts? Who doesn't like donuts? I mean, people ask me all the time who I target. I target everyone. We sat in front of that little space where we opened, like the business tower, the bank tower. 1% of that bank tower a day. All right, now if I get the business community over here a day. All right, if I get some of the drinkers here during it, and then breakfast. Hey, I got the breakfast crowd.
Yeah.
All of those, and everybody's my customer, and that's the beauty of what I do.
Well, and that line that shoots out the door. That relentless line is marketing in itself. Yes. That always blows me away how we love that. You know, that's the sign of where we want to go. And the Food Network has sought you out, and you've had some amazing national, visibility. And so, can you talk a little bit about how that happened?
It was all part of the original plan, and we're circus guys. I mean, I've always had a gimmick. I've always had an idea. My business partner ran an underage club that, you got to do what you can do. There's no money there in an underage club. And
That's true.
He knew that, but he considers that as college. So it just seems easy to pique people's attention to us. And I know that people write books and charge millions of dollars for people to learn this. But for us, getting people's attention, maybe it's just because we got fat heads and need our ego stroked. But getting people's attention seemed like the easy thing for us. Learning to make donuts was like, oh my God, how are we going to make this happen? Running a circus like that. And it's pretty simple. If you do something interesting enough, it gets the press's attention. You get on a TV show, somebody sees that TV show, you get 2 more calls. And wow, it worked. It was pretty easy. And it was more for our own music. We were having fun. I mean, it's all that kind of stuff is fun for us. It wasn't work. That was the making donuts was hard work.
Yeah.
Doing all of the press stuff, that's fun. And
I love that. Yeah. Like, you seem to have fun with marketing.
Yes.
And there are ways just by showing up as yourself that's what makes it work.
Yes.
That's one of the main reasons I wanted to have you here. Okay, so what has been one of the biggest waste of money? What has been the biggest waste of money that you've spent in this business?
Biggest waste of money? I don't know. I mean, wholesale. I hate to pinpoint one thing, but that was. It was a complete waste of money as much as it was a direction gone wrong. You know, and we were warned about that at the very beginning. You know, at one point we had probably 100 accounts. The coffee shop, I mean, 1 million coffee shops in this town. They all have little pastries and stuff. And so it was, you know, calls. And we finally kind of let it slip in. And for the moment, it was great. You know, it helped that thing where we got out there a little more. And it definitely got our name out. But as it came down to it, you get to a point where you start spending a lot of money. So people want to buy stuff for cheap. So they need your product cheaper so they can mark it up and make their own profit. And then now I've got 6 cars, I've got a manager, I've got phone calls at 5 in the morning, all that kind of thing. And it really came down to having to make a tough decision. And we pulled the plug on it. And it was the only time that I've ever had to like let people go, not because of anything they've done. It was one of the hardest decisions we ever made.
Yeah.
The money, I mean, I guess it's not so much about the money, but that was the one that like we threw really a lot of effort into. And when it came down to it, it just didn't make the money, you know? I mean, and we were beyond the publicity that we needed. And when we cut it, it was such a relief because we needed those donuts. I mean, we had these pile of donuts in the back for wholesale, and you're telling people up front that you're sold out. And at 2 in the morning, when you're all liquored up and want
That's
donuts,
not gonna work.
there are donuts back there. And so it really became very, very stressful. Cut it, and then boom, we don't lay off staff making donuts. We had to lay off our delivery staff and the account manager, which was very hard. But I already had people who could make that product. They already could make, and so instantly 10,000 donuts on a weekend are back into the retail market, and people were happier. It just worked out. And now it's very difficult because people want delivery, but in order to be efficient and offer the best product possible, you come to us. Come to us.
So speaking of your staff, it seems like you have such an eclectic group there. What do you look for? What qualities in a person do you look for when you're hiring?
We've had a lot of different philosophies over time. One of the things, like in the beginning, we kind of stuck with, we like people from out of town. Hadn't had time to make a bunch of friends, start their band, get into their art, whatever it is. And if anybody's out there watching, trying to find out how they're going to get to work for me, I'm not going to hire a donut maker. I fired 3 donut makers. And those donut makers all say, well, you know what we used to do at our last job? I don't play that. I want donuts made my way. And it's not that complicated, but if you make them all the same way, they get made right. Everybody starts putting their little trick in there, then the variation becomes, and it just screws the whole system up. So that's not what I look for. It's really tough nowadays, and I'm out of the hiring game. I mean, I haven't hired fryers. We interview a few. We're upper management, whatever you want to say. I want them the house managers to do that because you know they're the people working with them.
Yeah.
But it's very difficult because the person you hire is never the person that shows up for work. Never. And it's such a hard thing.
That's right.
Because when you get
thought about
interviewed, you
that.
want that job, and you're going to say whatever you can. You're going to say, yes, I've done that. You're going to, you know, this, that, and the other.
Of course.
And it's really, really difficult to read that person. You know, you can get a little feel of how they are, but you know that they really want that job. So you have to gamble, and you pick that person, and then you find out who shows up for work. And hopefully the person shows up for work that you want to hire.
That makes sense. Now, voodoo seems to be a spirituality of sorts, and I'm wondering what is your personal spirituality or way of going inside and just kind of detaching from this, you know, like kind of fast-paced, vibrant business? What do you do personally?
It's tough. I'm a very secular person. I'm you know, I want to think that I'm pretty deep, and I try to.
I sense that in you.
Well, I want to be humble about what I've got. I mean, I've created a monster, and it attracts a lot of attention and stuff like that. I want to be as simple as the whole karma thing, I guess, you know, and as overrated and as also cliched as it is. I believe that by doing good things will come back at you, and it's not even so much that. So I'm just, you know, I mean, it's a mission too for this thing. It's not just, I mean, I obviously started this to have a successful venture, to make money, to be successful, to make my kids, you know, be prepared so my kids can grow up in a nice atmosphere and stuff. But it does boil down to some spirituality and making the right thing. And I take a personal responsibility for my employees. I mean, I kind of feel that way.
Yeah,
I have
it's like an
I
extended
have
family.
and I have an economy which peaked this summer at 147 people. I feel responsible for those people. I want those people to be successful. I want those people to have that job. I want them to get the benefits. I want to, that's kind of the way I feel, and that's not the way a lot of businesses feel. And the whole Occupy Wall Street thing going on right now, I get that, because when it does get to a point where it's nothing but a pen stroke and it's all about the bottom line. And I'm all about the bottom line. But when I've also had the experience, which very few people have had, that I've always had more coming in than going out, so that I'm able to not only reap my own rewards, but trickle down the plus on that. I mean, I pay higher wages. We have insurance for employees, life insurance policy.
Really?
And like you were talking about earlier, I have a very open atmosphere. I don't, and that's part of the culture, and I'm almost embarrassed of the cliche too, because people come to Voodoo Donut, see the tattooed people and the weirdos and the crazy music and stuff like that, and that's not what I'm about. I'm open to everyone. I want, and then, isn't that what you're supposed to do anyway? You're supposed to be accepting of everyone, and we've got strange people, and I want that culture to be around as long as we do our job. And that's where the difference between a great culture and being the man is. There's a very fine line with that. And when it comes down to it, I'm the man. I'm the man.
Yeah.
I'm the one who makes decisions. I'm the one who the buck stops with the two business owners. I've made that decision. That's how it's going to be. But if you can play the game a little bit, then we can all have fun and join the party.
Well, my hometown in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, we have a place called Primanti Brothers.
Primanti Brothers, oh yeah, I love that place.
And I feel like Voodoo Donut is the Primantis of Portland.
When I went there with my cousins, we're just like, yeah, this is just like it's kind of like the Voodoo of
You have to go there.
Oh yeah, and that's what we wanted. It's the whole get
That's
off the
a
plane
fun thing.
and come straight there mentality, which is something we've planted
What
the seed
happens.
for.
And so I want to ask you one last question, and this is always just kind of a fun one. If you could put a message into 1 million fortune cookies, what might it say?
Okay, so what I'll do with that is I'm going to take 333,000 that say clean up after yourself. I'm going to do 333,000 that say show up on time, and I'm going to put 333,000 that say do what you say you're going to do, which are my 3 tenets for the business.
Excellent.
And any business in the world, if you show up on time, clean up after yourself, and that's metaphor too. That's not just cleaning up your donut mess.
Your internal.
That's cleaning up your problems, cleaning up your job, the whole deal, and then doing what you say you're going to do. I'm going to be there tomorrow at 4. I'm going to finish this project.
Yes.
Those 3 things, any job, any career, anything, stick to that. How can you go wrong?
Brother, I love it. Let's eat one of these.
All right.
Thanks. Cheers.
Yes.